about that shit. That pisses me
Yeah.
off. Okay, here we go.
Ready.
Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our very special segment this Thursday night here on the Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the International Public Radio, United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee and Dr. Snick, aka Justin Snicker, the sonic surgeon. And tonight is a really special night for us. So you want to make sure you get into all of our chat rooms. We have 8. Yes, 8. We are on Facebook, the Outer Realm Facebook page, Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover, UFO Paranormal Radio, News on the Flip Side, Canada's Most Haunted, both Canada's Most Haunted, I believe you have access to, but for sure the large page. We are on Twitch, UFO Paranormal. We are on International Public Radio, YouTube, UFO Paranormal Radio, YouTube, and you can get in there so we can all interact with you. So thank you, Bradley. Thank you, everybody. Jessica, Janie, Pauline.
Thanks, Mama.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica.
Well wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Janie.
It has been an adventure. This has been a lot of fun. When Amelia said it's the 200th, I was like, what? Already?
Yeah.
It's just breezed by. Hi, Patricia.
Yeah.
It's just breezed by. You know,
the first 100 felt like that too, though.
It's true. It did. It really did. And I do want to give some credit also to Jack Ken. I don't want to forget about Jack.
No.
Thank you, Zach, man. The Outer Realm was a conception done end of 2018, and it started off as a Q&A. It really wasn't technically the Outer Realm. And it just became crazy.
Someone brought it to their attention that they wouldn't
like, what are you doing?
They wouldn't own their content. And at the time I was producing, so
yeah,
I was Michelle, you own your business. You don't own this contact. She was like, what do you mean?
Because I'm copyrighted.
Yeah.
So I knew there could be some sort of technicalities, but I knew Jack was not. So we definitely took all of what Amelia said into consideration and decided to, be okay. Let's just take this to a different level, and went with Amelia over to Blog Talk, and it was really good. So the Q&A took a different turn, and of course, Jack left, and we do want to give him a lot of credit because he was there from
Jack.
Yes, he was there from the inception, and he just said, you know what? I think I'm a better guest than I am a host. And you know what? He was a guest. we did bring him on a guest, and we'll bring him on again because he's just so much fun, And from that point on, then we went to a studio.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you. Hi, Zach.
Thank you, Sarah. We went into a studio, radio station studio. And of course, when the lockdown happened initially in 2019, the studio had to shut down. And we thought, okay, and look, this, bear in mind, we joined, we syndicated to United Public Radio before that happened.
Yeah.
And big congratulations also to our network for 3 million downloads on Podbean.
That's awesome.
That's just Podbean. Guys, we're on over 200 different podcast sites.
Yeah.
that, not counting the YouTube, like that's just
Yeah.
all of our podcast sites for the network. Like you can find all of these archives and more going back decades on
Yeah.
so many other platforms. So big congratulations to Joe Montaldo and United Public Radio for that.
Yeah.
It's a big achievement. So like it's like a double whammy on one night. It's like how much better can it get?
It's exciting.
Yeah. So here we are, we're for the last while, we've been with, a year and a half, we've been with United Public, not syndicated, but full on through the network. And that in itself has been one heck of a journey, and
Yes.
along the way, oh my gosh, the people we have met,
Thank
the
you.
knowledge, thank you guys.
Aw.
The knowledge that we have learned and we've received from all these multitudes of people who have been guests on our show. We've made friends, we've learned new things, and it's just been one hell of a journey. I'll light up a special cigar. All right. Yeah. I like it. So, yeah. And we thought the best way, to share this segment would be with you guys.
Yeah, we couldn't be here without you.
No.
So you're part of this.
Our guests.
So happy anniversary.
Yes. Happy anniversary, Bella.
Episode-versary.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
It's all about you guys. It's all about what you want to listen to. It's all about what you want to see.
And we do listen.
Yeah.
You'll find that for coming into, you'll already see some familiar faces that have been coming on the show with us. And you're going to see a lot of new faces coming on as well. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have so much fun. We have so much
keep up with the changing times in the field as well. We don't want to get stuck in what, that formula of anything. It's what we stand for, is moving forward and making sure that you get the best of the best information. And we're learning as we're bringing guests on as well. It's not always necessarily something we know about or agree with at times.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that because someone comes on that is necessarily our opinion. We respect everybody's opinions, perception, ideologies. It's what keeps the shows interesting. We are here to bring you different perspectives. We're here to bring you different topic matter. You guys email and you say, well, I'd like to see a show on this or a show on this. And we really do hunt down people. I always say something. We hunt down people to lasso them, bring them in.
Yeah, look for the best in their fields, always.
Exactly. And a lot of people contact us because you notice at the end of every show that we will say, hey, if you know of someone you'd like to see, or if you'd like to be on the show yourself, we make sure it's a good fit. It's just, it has to be a really good fit because we know what you as our listeners all like.
Yes.
It's that simple. And it sets us apart from many others.
Yeah. And if you disagree with something, you can email us as well. We listen.
We do.
That's what matters. We hear you. Yeah. I think maybe we should give them a little bit of the process. Give them a little peek into the process of how guests are booked. And
because we've had a few people over the course of the last few months sort of throw things at us. We're like, what? It's like, what did you say?
So don't even talk about the last week one.
I will let Amelia walk everybody through the process.
Oh, through the process.
I'll shut up and let Amelia
You will never be able to reach Michelle by messenger. You will always have to email to get her. Now, I delete messages and I go through the messages. So a lot of times people will message me on Facebook, which I can guarantee you doesn't come up for days. So I hope you're not in a hurry. If you're in a hurry, always email theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com. And if you can't remember that, don't worry. Just go on our Facebook page. It's right there. Okay, so don't message us on the Facebook page, not on our own personal pages. And please, please do not DM us on Messenger. We don't even look at DM on Messenger. It is inundated with messages, and it's just, we will never be able to help the people that we need to help. We have our families as well, and get all of our work done if we were looking through all of those messages, because you can imagine how many spam messages go through everybody's mailbox. And so what happens is, if somebody reaches out to, I'll use myself as an example. I always give them the email address, and then Michelle takes that and she takes a look at the guest, and then I'll let her finish that part, because sometimes I will get a message that says, well, I'd like to come on this week. Those of you that follow the show, and this is how I know they don't follow the show, right? This is how I know they've been looking at our numbers on the streamers. Our archives are in the millions. So this is how I know they're not following the show per week, and they're not really aware of what's going on. Because if you're aware, you would know that we're booked months in advance. In fact, last year in February, we were already booked to January. We're trying a different process this year. And there is a process. We don't want you to have, there's 2 shows a week. We do not want you to have the same topic matter on both nights. We want them to meld, but we don't want them to be the same. If we wanted that, we would have a panel show.
Pretty much.
The email goes to Michelle, and then Michelle.
Yes, I do try to look at what we have coming up. For example, in 1 month, I wouldn't want everything to be extraterrestrials and UFOs, and you only have a couple of paranormals in there. Bless you.
Thank you.
You'll notice that we do a lot of ancient, historical stuff, archaeology stuff. Like we have a mix of literally everything, near-death experiences, reincarnation. So we definitely try to make sure that it's somewhat spaced out. Every now and then we might have a week. I'll say it's paranormal week, and we'll have 2 paranormal shows. It just really depends, because we also have a waiting list. We have agents who contact us to have their people come on, and the waiting list is long. It really is, because this year, like right now, we're booking into middle to end of April. We're trying not to go more than a quarter ahead, because
it's not easy either.
It really isn't. No. So at that point, we're just really trying not to go too far ahead. Not that there's not dates booking going into the following few months, because we do have return guests who have a lot to talk about that we can't all just cover all at once.
Hi, Wayne.
So, hey, so we have to basically move it all in, and move it along.
Sorry, Michelle. But when Mom's on, I have to blow her kisses. And when
thank you, Philip.
Thank you, Philip. Philip Syracuse,
Horsefly Chronicles
Monday night right here.
8 p.m.
Monday nights at 8 p.m. Philip and Julia.
Yes.
Yeah. And we have a great family here.
We do.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's true. We're a great network. We have a lot of really great people. There's a lot of really great shows, and that's something else too. If especially when agents are booking, they don't always think, okay, we're on the same network. So if we see a guest, because we do book months in advance, but if it's too close to when we're booked and they're on another show on the network, we have to bump you.
Yeah.
Because we're just not going to do back-to-back guests. It's not fair to the other show. Any more than it's fair to our show and our listeners.
Nor the guest.
Or the guest,
they will lose out on the audience if they're carrying the week. It's not, absolutely. And some guests think, it's better if I'm booked back to back on your network. And I'm like, no, it's not, because if they've seen you on another show, they're not going to come to see you on the other. Like they're not. They might not be listening to you again. So you kind of miss out. There's a science to it. There's a science to it. Yeah,
and there actually is a science to it.
There's a science to it, and and when I get a little, sometimes people can be pushy and try to get on sooner. I can't do that. I don't have the schedule, and I wouldn't do that. I would not move somebody. If we have been to have an opening or a cancellation, there's a waiting list there as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a crazy process that Michelle has somehow magically put together without glitches,
Yes.
and we follow it. And Michelle also has an agent that calls in and
Two.
books. Yeah. So
Two.
you have two agents that book shows.
Mhm.
It's, you have to have one person who's on it, or it becomes a mess and
Very
confusing.
convoluted.
It is.
It's
So
not that
it's
we're trying to
better.
be difficult. It's just trying to
No.
follow a formula that's been working for
Yeah.
us for 200 plus episodes.
Thank you.
You know,
And
so
and that's the thing, you know, sometimes
Right.
I'll have friends in the field and they're like, "Well, you're a host." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not booking. I don't know what's ahead. I don't know
Mm.
what's booked right now. I have bookings, but I have names. I don't necessarily have topics. I can't just put you in there.
No,
Michelle might be waiting to
we
hear
go over
from someone
everything.
else." But we
Yeah.
tried to do that where we were
Yeah.
both booking.
It's too
Michelle knows
hard.
a lot more people in this field, and it's just easier to have her book the guests and to have one person on it, because at one point we were double booking and when we'd have to move things around, and it's annoying for the guests.
It was a big mess. You know,
Yeah.
we do talk about, you know, about people who will approach, you know, someone will message Amelia. She'll say, well, there's this person. We talk about it because again, it has to be a right fit. We're not, you know, we're a little bit outside the norm that way. And it's, you know, for myself, it's because I've been in the field for a really long time, but that's just my field. There's a lot of other people at the top of their fields who come on, but enough of all the red tape. We're thrilled to be here. We're thrilled that you guys have been a really big part of our journey, and we just appreciate and love you all. And when you come into chat, it just makes it that much more fun. When we have guests, it's kind of hard because it's about the guests, so we can't always get into chat. But on nights like this, where it's just the two of us and we're all just kind of all hanging out, it's wonderful because we can talk about pretty much anything you want to. Yeah. So I'm going to start with a topic matter because I was listening to another interview today. Yes, I do that.
Oh, we do.
As I research guests and things like that,
Yeah,
right?
we do.
We really do research people. You know, we're very careful when people come on. But so for all of the paranormal researchers out there and maybe the logical people, your thoughts on moving objects. So in this case, I'm going to use, like we know dolls can move. Sometimes dolls whose necks don't move. Been caught on film and you see the doll's head just moving. I know. It's just like a little unnatural person. But let's say we had something like a statue. Okay. Copper statue, for example.
Copper?
And sometimes there's claims that statues can move. I can't personally see how a copper statue can move, but in the field of the paranormal, I suppose anything is possible. My personal thought is, are they just giving you the illusion of what they want you to see? So if, for example, something moves, okay, and I'm going to show you where it gets technical here. If something moves and you see something move, is it because the spirit there wants you to perceive that maybe part of them or the statue or whatever is moving? Now, let's take it a step further. What happens if someone captures a photograph with that movement and the whatever it is that's moved is different in the photograph?
Are we talking a hand or are we talking a face, an eye? Because at devil's advocate on the other side, I'd be looking at I would want scientifically make sure that this copper is not movable or soft and that it is indeed copper.
It's a big statue. The one I'm making reference to is a statue that's holding a rifle, and the hands on the rifle are said to move. So from up here to, let's say, down here, because it's holding a rifle, which is, you know, this way. So it's holding, the hands are on the top. So I don't know. So to the paranormal investigators who are in chat or the logical scientific people, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Don't
Let
everybody
us
just chime in
know.
all at once.
I'm going to just say mine since this is I'm on here.
Okay. Here we
I
go.
would have to I would have to investigate it in all ways, scientifically and paranormally, whether
Right.
you're putting a camera on it or whatever. But I believe that some measurements need to be taken, because if those hands are moving, we need to know how long, how far. And then you need the history of the actual statue and who it's of, and
Mhm.
if there's any attachments to. I mean, there's a
Well, you
lot
know
of
that the
things.
statue's haunted. Like, I'm talking about an allegedly haunted statue right
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
would
done some
still want
pretty
the
incredible
density of
things.
the copper.
Yeah.
I'm just terrible that way, because I think
Mm.
I think if you get that and it's still moving, it just validates the paranormal field. It
Mhm.
really does,
But how does a solid copper statue, or bronze statue, sorry, how does that just move?
It's still energy.
But how does it physically move? It's this big, crazy monolith. It's like,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
there we
So,
go. Bradley.
okay. So here we go. So Bradley says, all right, so let's
Yeah.
take this one. Copper is a conductor of energy, correct. And it can also ground. And if the claims are that spirits are made of energy, I suppose it could be possible. Okay. I'm thinking it may be bronze. So not copper. When I think back, I think it's a bronze statue. So that
If it was
being the
copper, it would
case,
be blue and green right now if it's outside.
it is, but I think bronze does that too.
Does it?
I think it oxidizes. So I'm just trying to get, I'm just,
Michelle,
perception or for real.
we have a for real example. The ring you gave me is bronze, but yet it fits on all of my fingers. Figure
That's
that one
weird.
out,
I
right?
know, that's
And I
just
showed her,
weird.
I put it on all of my fingers, and I showed her a
And it's not a
photograph.
big ring. It's just a
And I'm
little,
wearing it on all fingers. It's not tight. It's not falling off. It just seems to conform to my fingers. And it's an antique. Maybe telekinesis. Yeah. But
yeah.
who's doing it?
Yeah. It's see, that's just it, because there's a lot of claims that go along with not just that one, but many items, and I can see things even in a photograph, because sometimes things are blurry and it looks like it could be moving. And I always attribute it to, well, maybe it's the spirit's energy that's actually moving up and down on, for example, this case, the rifle. I've spent a lot of time around this statue. I completely believe, I've seen it do amazing things with respect to EVPs, with respect to just different little anomalies. Is it solid or hollow? I would say it has to be hollow to a degree. I mean, this thing would weigh a darn ton, and imagine it would have cost a whole boatload more. So I better put this up.
Usually when they carve statues like that, they carve them into wax or gesso molds, and then they pour the liquid and they pull it out, and there's some, solidness to the base, but not necessarily the body of the item. I only know that because my family is our artists. Yeah.
Right.
That's the only reason why I know. Yeah.
Okay. Here's a thought. Oh, Amelia, go ahead.
Okay, no problem. Michelle, you have a picture of yourself where a spirit has superimposed their face over yours. Could the spirit do the same over top of the statue? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Sometimes in images, you'll catch it seems blurry, but it looks like you've got hands or something moving. Oh, good old bots is not disappointing us tonight, are you guys?
At least they're not trying to, solicit me.
Smut solicitation.
Not yet.
You guys missed some fun last night, let me tell you what. So, but yes, I do believe that spirits can superimpose their energy over top of physical objects. And Wayne and I were actually talking about that tonight, the whole doll thing, because there was a clip that we watched one night, and I go, well, the doll's head must have just naturally moved. So of course it would be able to move, but the spirit could move it. And he goes, no, that specific doll did not have a head that moved. I'm just like, all dolls' heads moved, even if it's stuffed inside somewhere, but it's just like,
not if they're part of one form.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, the porcelain dolls are sewn, but then you have the first plastic dolls that came out that the heads were not necessarily separate. They were sometimes, again,
Yeah.
like a statue poured together. I remember all these
Right.
things come from a mold. And then I wonder, so there is no demonic attachment to the statue whatsoever,
No, it's said to have a spirit energy. Well, I know it
just a
does
spirit
because
energy.
it's had, it's come through the EVPs, and a lot of people have had amazing experiences. Mediums have communicated with them several times, and it's quite a lovely spirit, not
Yeah.
grounded. It just chooses to be there. But I think that as you move forward, I just thought it would be a good question to pose, because I know we've got some paranormal researchers in chat, and I figured,
That's
let's try
good.
to get some different perspectives on this, because it is a lot. It can be pretty controversial, because there's some people who will swear up and down, no, this is a thing. And then you have others, you try to be logical and you think, no, you can't just move something like that.
Yeah, I think we might need to get on a plane and go see this thing.
You have to get there.
And then you also have the question of, is this spirit manipulating what you're seeing?
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
do they have the ability to, because you will see what, or perceive
Yeah.
what they want you to see,
Wow.
right? So are you seeing something, is it a mind thing, a mindset thing? Like it's not really happening, but it's what's being shown to you. But see, then it changes when you catch a photograph of something and it's actually in the photograph as with the change. And it
That's
doesn't
a
look
beautiful
like this.
photograph. My God. You get that? That's a great piece.
Yeah, there's been a lot. It's an
Yeah.
interesting topic. So if anybody has any ideas on it, then feel free to share it up. And if you guys want to tackle or discuss anything specifically, throw it up in chat. Let's all have a discussion. What do you guys
There's a
want to
lot of
talk about?
investigators there.
I know, like, what do you want to bounce around with, like a couple million people listening in?
Bradley's got a thought.
Okay, we're going to put you up. Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, my only other thought would be, if spirit can affect your thoughts while you are sleeping, I suppose it would be possible for spirit every
thought, a strong
thought, a very strong energy could manipulate your thoughts and possibly see something that's not actually happening. Yeah. I think it could be happening, though.
I think they can do it even while you're awake, to be honest.
Energy, why wouldn't they be able to manipulate and move things? That copper, bronze, any metal is an energy.
I'm talking a statue here that's the size, is bigger than an average person.
But it's still energy.
Sitting on a big
and we know that spirits can move things across a house. Big, giant, heavy things. If they're
not
pissed.
Usually spirits have difficulty with really heavy objects.
Well, negative spirits can do things like that. They've thrown people.
Again, usually more entity based or ET based. Human spirits have difficulty. It's harder for them to manifest that energy. Not that they haven't. I imagine if you've been gone for a really long time and you are aware of what energy can do, and yes, poltergeist activity.
Energy, definitely.
Again, that's like that self-induced, projected energy, psychokinesis. People are strong.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that happened to the lady from the film The Entity.
But that was an incubus. That wasn't a human spirit.
Was it all? Because I'm hearing incubus and I'm hearing her father and spirits of past. That's where I have to restudy that, because I believed the same thing and I didn't understand why it was changed after.
Well, put it this way. I mean, if there's human spirits around and you have a malevolent entity that's sharing space with it, they sort of get held back. Like they don't just let them move, because they'll feed off that energy. I mean, I've dealt a few cases like that over the years. It's quite sad, really, for the spirits. However, we've also encountered spirits who were not nice spirits, who basically have entities in their space and they,
Mm-hmm.
the entity will push that spirit into doing whatever it wants. So now all of a sudden the spirit, who wasn't very nice in the first place, is acting out and is being given more energy from the entity to carry out those tasks.
Yeah.
There's a whole other,
Or pull energy from anything.
Oh, absolutely.
Bradley's asking, does it have a religious element?
Military, Bradley. So yeah, not religious at all.
His hands are moving up and down a rifle.
The top of the rifle.
Yeah, yeah, that wouldn't be religious. Yeah.
No. Hey, Michelle. Yeah, it's just one of those things that I wanted to put out there out of having a strong curiosity with that. But so okay, so let's go on to a different topic. Who's going to pick the next topic? Dun, dun, dun. Yes, no, maybe.
There's a bot.
Oh, gone. Yeah, it's already blocked.
Okay.
Underneath it. I don't know why sometimes the name just doesn't go away.
I wonder what a lot of people, I think a big one, and we brought this up yesterday with Dr. Elliot Van Dusen, and we've talked about it with Mike Rickseeker. I think I would like to ask the audience their thoughts on shadows, on shadow people.
Yes, that's a big one for me. It always has
controversial.
Been. Like we've had Mike Rickseeker on, and he's a wealth of information when it comes to shadows, and he basically feels that many of them are quite benign. I just don't think we've ever got one that's been benign. It's like, so some people think that they could be time travelers. They could be.
I wonder if
spirits.
They see them in a different color or form. I wonder if we, we're able to draw something out and compare with others, their experiences, if they really are the same, or is there something? Well, yeah, the white is I've had white demonics, right? Like it's just, and you would never think of demonic being white. I remember with my mom, it was a white mist. It wasn't even, it was a white misty, almost trying to make a ball. It almost did the infinity symbol, like that on the ceiling kind of thing.
Right. That's interesting.
That's a good one for the famous top hat man. Yes,
Bradley. See those a lot.
That one to me is always mischievous.
Yes.
Okay, and Jessica, I saw a shadow but didn't feel uneasy.
Yeah, Zach, we'll get to your question as soon as we're through this topic for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. My experiences with shadow people have been mixed. Some were neutral nature, others malevolent. That's Zach Vance.
I don't think we've ever come across one that wasn't malevolent. So you have to almost ask yourself why that would be. You think
was it really a shadow?
Well, sometimes there are things behind them. Yeah, for sure.
If you don't feel that it's malevolent, I'd be so leery with that, because we don't know if there's something trying to mimic a feeling of love or a loved one and still trying to manifest itself to look like that person in some ways. You have to be very careful. That's what gives me fear. I used to always say that as well. I used to say, well, how does it make you feel? Do you feel uptight? And now it's like, well, wait a second. Anything can make you feel comfortable. Absolutely. You need to tell me, where did you see this? How long did you see it? How long did you see it for? How often? How, did you communicate with it? Like, there's a million other questions to that now. I don't think it's as simple as what television allows you to believe and what we may have thought many years ago. Yeah, there's a sense of peace when it's a loved one. But if you're looking at a black shadow and you have a sense of peace, you need to question that.
I agree.
For me, it's like a gunman coming to the house and I answer the door.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to be careful. I love Mike Rickseeker, but I don't agree with him. I still feel like there has to be something in the most minute way that is different than what the rest of us are seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
know he
maybe
spends
it's
a
not
lot
a
of time
spirit.
researching. Yeah,
No,
but
I love his research.
I
We're
think,
having him on again. He's great,
these
but
time travel is also a really
that's a
good one.
huge
Also,
possibility.
you know, just out of the corner of your eye. I mean, spirits can do that also. We just don't seem to see many of them.
Then it's not a shadow person. It's a time traveling spirit. That's what I mean. Like, you can't label it really
Well,
a shadow
we're
person.
assuming so. We're assuming so.
And I need
Yeah.
to know, is it a feminine form? Because I've never seen a demonic shadow entity in a feminine form.
Mhm.
It's always been masculine. It's not always a hat. Don't like them, but it's
Mhm.
always been masculine and
Yeah, a lot of
large.
people I've spoken to throughout the last couple of decades of doing this, it seems to be the same thing. There's not really a positive take on them. It just doesn't
No,
mean that they're not out there.
no. But
Zach
if
Man.
they're time travelers, wouldn't you be able to see an outward appearance? Maybe those are the ones that we're catching from the corner of
corner.
eye, because shadow people in the malevolent way are in your face.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm saying, like, the smallest detail we're missing between these entities. I'm not saying it's not possible. I just, because he's an incredible researcher and I love talking to him, I just believe that we're missing something.
Right. Zach Man's comment here.
Thank you, Michelle. Never had a positive experience with shadow people. On my first experience with one as an adult, I tried to punch it when it
It must have looked
disappeared.
pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bradley.
Any shadow person I came across has not been nice. I put them in the same category as the little girl in White Bad News.
No.
Oh, I just got chills. Come talk to me, lady. Yeah. Patricia Ramirez. Hi, Patricia. I remember, Michelle, that you had a guest who helped my 13-year-old daughter dismiss the little shadow people in her room.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I vaguely remember. Forgive me, unfortunately. I deal with so many different referrals, and I go back 20 years. So if I referred you, it must have been quite a while back.
She said it was a guest.
Yeah. Oh, so a guest who helped.
We're glad that they helped you.
Yeah, you had a guest. Okay, good. So,
Yeah.
okay, that's probably why. Yeah, we have great guests. That's what I mean. There's so many guests who, like I said, top of their fields. So they're going to come in and they're going to assist, Anybody who we bring on is going to be somewhat like-minded with respects to helping other people out. I mean, aside from the authors, not all authors are investigators or are hands-on. Sometimes they really are authors or experiencers, and it doesn't go much beyond them wanting to talk about their experience. So before we get back to Zach's other question,
Bradley, how does evil wait to get your attention or trust show themselves as something you can relate to or inviting? Well, they know you.
They know you. They can show up as children. They'll usually infiltrate other children because A, children are easy to bully. B, children see everything just like animals. C, they're easy to intimidate and they're easy to fool in some ways. However, some kids they feel that with you, they're gonna be standoffish, and that sometimes they are gonna rat them out. Just a lot of families I've worked with started with the child being friends with another child who ended up getting that invitation and things going full-blown out of control.
Yeah, because come play with me is an invitation.
Pretty much.
Come have tea with me is an invitation.
It is.
I'm eating lunch. Come sit by me is an invitation. You forget how innocent your children are.
It's true.
And I say always question the imaginary friend.
Always.
Always.
Don't dismiss it.
Don't ever
Never
think
dismiss
that's all that is.
No.
Tamara, hi, Tamara. Shadow people come under the category of not nice and uninvited. I agree.
Yes. 100%. Okay.
Yeah. And Jessica, my niece, love you. That's one of my fears. My son wants to see his no that passed. He wants to see my brother, and he keeps reaching out. It's a tough one. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard because he really, really reaches out, and you have to stay on top of him because he will be that child when your back is turned, who's calling out. That's who he is. So yeah, that's why you ground him, Jessica. That's why you keep him shielded.
Ears and eyes open. Listen to the little comments. Don't dismiss imaginary friends, because that's what mimics do. They get into your head. They know you better than they know yourself. They know what you're going to do before you know you're going to do it. And, if they know that there's a way in, they're going to reach inside and they're going to come out with that image. That's all it takes. It really can happen that easily.
And I believe here's a good point, reference. Think about when there is a possession. You will hear all kinds of vile things come out of the person who is possessed. And that's the demons coming out. How do they know these things about everybody in that room? Hi, Samantha. My other niece is here. Love you too. You have to think of, how do they know these things? These are the same entities that are making and mimicking friendships with. Oh, no.
Amelia's just, what?
Why'd you wait until now to tell me, Sammy?
Yeah, in front of 2 million people.
My two nieces back to back. We're Zooming tomorrow. We're going to have a nice talk, and I'm bringing your mothers in. Samantha says, Salvatore, he's my brother's junior, has an imaginary friend. Maybe I should be worried about it. Hell to the yes. We're going to talk. Shield him and bubble him for now.
The thing is with children too, is you don't want to scare them. If you scare them, they stop talking. So this is where you have to become the observer and watch the behavior. If your child all of a sudden starts to feel withdrawn and he doesn't want to talk, or he doesn't want to play, or he doesn't want to go into his room, or there's a certain part of the house that's starting to spook him, start paying attention. Sometimes imaginary friends are just that, an imagination, overactive imagination. But when I say never put it aside, is because I've seen way, way too many situations that have gone bad, that because it's been the opposite. But just pay attention. If he's happy all the time, then it's probably very benign.
This is a tough one, squirrel. That if he took after me, he's a squirrel. This is a tough one because Samantha's children are gifted. So it's really hard. Samantha's father is my brother. Her mom is gifted. So now you've got from both sides of the grandparents coming into the children. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Children can naturally see. They haven't been corrupted yet with life.
No.
They look at things very innocently.
Yeah, and baby Sal's such a sweet little soul, You
just, like I said, the best thing that you can do, you never want to scare your child, and you don't want to lead them with a bunch of questions. So ideally, the best thing you can do is observe, because if they feel frightened or they feel like they've done something wrong, they will withdraw and shut down. That's not what you want. You want them to be themselves. Maybe when his imaginary friend is around, don't discourage it. The worst thing a parent can do is say, you're being stupid, you're being silly, there's no such thing. The child's looking at somebody going, hell yeah, there is. But you just want to, you just want to leave it alone, but observe the behavior of what he's doing while he's interacting. Because if it's something out of the imagination, he's going to communicate within his own realm of thought, of what he can verbalize and what he can do. If it's something that seems a little bit out of the norm for a child of his age, and the communication might, if it's confrontational and he's arguing and goes, I don't want to do that. No, just listen. And that will be your trigger as to what is there. Or you just send a bunch of pictures and you just just tap right in there, see what's going on. So
as she's giving you that advice, Samantha, I'm going through your house.
You just cheat and go right in there and see what it is.
I'm like, what Michelle
it's tough.
said, seriously.
It's tough.
It's a hard one because all we're saying when we say about imaginary friends is it's not always an entity or a spirit.
No.
You just want to make sure it's not. Don't assume that it is an imaginary friend. But we'll talk tomorrow, Samantha.
Okay, so now we're going to go to Zach's question from way back.
Oh,
then
yes.
We'll come back.
This one's for Michelle because I have not.
Oh, boy.
So,
yeah.
Have you ladies ever had any UFO, extraterrestrial, interdimensional being encounters? Well, interdimensional, yes. What do you mean by interdimensional? Like, who are you referring to?
Interdimensional could be obviously anything out of our current dimension, but that could be extraterrestrial. That could be what we deem as cryptids. That could be time travel. That could be other beings that, right?
Wait.
Yeah.
I had to find which direction that goes to point to Michelle.
But yeah. I could tell you, yes, on all levels. I've had experiences with all of that. Was not always comfortable with it, and came to the realization it's been happening since childhood. And when I came to that realization, he calls him his old friend. Samantha,
I'm wondering, Samantha, if there's an ET thing going on here.
Yeah, we're going to come back to you, Samantha and Bradley.
Yeah.
So if anybody who has obviously listened to interviews that I've had or seen my Paranormal Nightmare, which is the only time I've really told the full scope of my own story, there was an attachment. And I think on my Paranormal Nightmare, I even played one of the recordings of that attachment.
Yeah.
There's a big, big growl, You
did.
Yes. And I now tend to wonder, because there is a really fine line between certain beings and extraterrestrials. I think religion is a very man-made thing. And we tend to refer to things like, let's say, for example, and they could be all one of the same, or they can be completely separate. So we're going to kind of examine both. But let's just say people look at a demon and think extraterrestrials. The UFO people will say that's a draconian or it's a reptilian.
Yeah.
Okay. People who look at angelic beings are going to say this is a Pleiadian. This could be, there's several really nice Andromedans, like really nice beings of light, they're just beautiful, like the Nordics. Like, you just look at me.
I was looking for that word, Nordic.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, those are like from the Pleiades, right? So, ufologists will say, no, that's what these beings are. Whereas, paranormal people on an average, or religious people will say, no, those are angels and demons. So whatever the case may be, I could say, for me, it could be either, because of, bloodline stuff could tell me that, yes, it could be something that would be deemed demonic. But because of personal experiences with extraterrestrials, it could also have been just being an experiencer, abductee, contactee. Either way, it was a little unsettling. And, having anything coming around lurking while you sleep at night is never pleasant. I keep thinking, what about all these other people? Get to see them during the day when they're awake.
Or they don't get their memories scrubbed, which really is a little bit weird.
How about that? Yeah.
Hi, Allison. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Allison.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just, I don't know. I think it's something that a lot of people experience, and a lot of people are going to start experiencing more, because from what I'm understanding, just in research and other people I'm speaking to who are abductees, contactees, experiencers, they are going to make themselves known. And we shouldn't necessarily fear them. Some of them should be feared, but the majority of them should not. So brace yourselves.
It's like any human race. There's good and bad everywhere.
Exactly.
So it's the same thing with that.
Exactly. Just be ready for it. Open mind. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
It always says no fear. Exactly. There we go.
Easy
no
for
convincing
you
Amelia.
to say.
Taking me a bit of time to just like, okay. It's like liquor. Lurkers, yes. But it's hey, Chris, it is become easier, and I hear something now. It's just like, all right. I remember the other night I was so tired. I remember falling asleep, and then I could hear something, and I know now the patterns, and I know what they sound like, as opposed to, let's say, the spirits in the house sort of thing. And all I remember saying is, I am so tired, because it's just, let me sleep first and just let me fall asleep, have that little minute of enjoyment. So, and we can always tell too, because the house gets really, really, really dark.
The best text messages are, Bubbles, it's noisy. What's here? Those are the best ones.
We'd had, like street lights come into the tower upstairs, and would light up the whole upstairs. So even with those lights on, when they're here, it's completely pitch black upstairs. It's like those lights don't even exist.
Yeah.
So
scary.
Okay, get back to Samantha. I know you're worried. What's going on?
No, I will definitely have a conversation with her tomorrow, because there's no way that I could get everything I need from her from a chat. But I will definitely be having a conversation with her tomorrow and see what's going on, because it could be absolutely nothing. Especially like just the fact that he calls them his old friends, kind of it just kind of ruffled me the wrong way a little bit.
Right.
So I just want to make sure.
Too. My old friend could be past lifeline.
And Samantha's used to living in an active house, so
right.
But Chris is not, Samantha. So don't say anything to him until I've spoken with you, or he will never sleep, and you'll be nursing the man baby. And the other 4 kids won't even know you're there. But
good times.
He's petrified. He's like, I haven't seen the show you did, because not this, the Paranormal Nightmares, because I'm so scared. They've lived in haunted houses. There seems to be an attraction with Samantha with that too. Yeah, LOL. Yeah, she agrees with me. Let me see what he says. Could ley lines be highways for extraterrestrials?
Yes, absolutely. And they could be highways for spirits as well, because they're energy lines. Anything that's made up of energy could pop through a ley line. There have been reports of people, I know in Burlington, City Hall people used to report horses and carriages from a whole other time. And they were all dressed in period clothing in the courtyard. And it ran right over a ley line. So I completely believe that spirits can travel through energy lines. And it is believed that UFOs and extraterrestrials, and Dolly, correct me if I'm wrong, could also use ley lines. Oh, well, hello, you're new. Nims Dulak, I love it.
Yeah, ley lines, definitely for spirits, seen them, but interesting for extraterrestrial. Good to think about for me. Okay.
Yeah. See, Dolly says
yes.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes.
Yes.
Dolly would know. Dolly
would know. She's had a heck of a lot of experience.
Yes. So I completely believe that. So there's going to be a lot more information surfacing there also. But energy lines, I think where energy lines tend to cross, you'll see portals. A lot of these power spots, like throughout the world, like the ancient Egyptian pyramids, like Stonehenge, there are places like that all over the world. And you'll see where amazing monuments were built over these areas. They follow magnetic ley lines. Exactly. There we go. That's interesting that they do that, but that's, I guess it's like a highway. It's like a
If you want to know more about stuff like that, you should really watch Ancient Civilizations, on Ancient Aliens and stuff like that on television, because they have a lot of those stories in there. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah, Tamara. When you have paranormal activity, you have UFOs reported.
Many times.
Yeah.
Not, for me, not always, but throughout the years, I would say at least 50% of the people I worked with who had hauntings also reported ET sightings.
Yeah. And
They surf them.
they surf them.
I like it. I like it. That's very cool. Okay, Bradley.
I've been doing some searching and have noticed most churches are places on ley lines, the old cathedrals. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They're power spots.
Yeah.
And if you notice, a lot of churches were built on old temples, and the temples back in the day were built on power spots, and the churches just took over the whole area. Of course they would.
Yeah. Stonehenge is built on.
Exactly. And some of these places they could not build on.
Yeah.
You know, but if there was a temple there, you would see the church move right in on it and take it over. And then you get places like, for example, Rennes-le-Château in the south of France. And that place is unbelievable. Like, you could feel the energy when you're there. It's just a remarkable location. And it's been inhabited. The Romans inhabited it. The Visigoths inhabited it. What was it about it? Power spot.
I felt a lot of energy on my grade 8 school trip. We went to Montreal at the cathedral. It was overwhelming for me, and I was 14 at the time. I didn't quite understand, but I do have a thing for cathedrals. I can't lie. I love going into, I don't care what religion they are. I love going into them because I find them so beautiful.
I love the architecture. Like, I consider myself a spiritual person, very open-minded. I don't follow organized religion, but yet look around, I love the Gothic arches. I love the architecture. It's just so unique, but it's also very medieval as well, which is I'm sitting in a medieval room for those who don't know. I guess can't spin everything around, but I love it. I'm much like you that way. It's just so beautiful.
I think it comes from mine and my niece's history too.
Yeah. Tons of it.
Yeah. He brought the Goth into Italy. Dave's is saying some of the ley lines in Europe is said that Apollo flew over the line and charged the ground on his journey.
Oh, that's interesting.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Bradley, I wonder if the Knight Templars used or knew. Oh, I
believe they would have.
That's a definite yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's temple meat, like you have to look at all of those. Yeah.
I agree. They had knowledge that was hidden. They knew so much more than they let on. I always say, Freddie Silva said it the best. Rich men did not give up their wealth to go on a quest looking for treasure. Rich men would give up their wealth to look for sacred knowledge. That's all I'll say.
Especially back then.
Exactly.
Yeah, Rennes-le-Château.
It's Rennes. Nims, it's actually Rennes-le-Château. So it's RENNES space LE space Chateau.
Chateau.
Yeah.
I think maybe when he typed, it just happened to come up that way.
It might have. Are you talking to your phone? Because it does it to me all the time.
Well, it's the
Yes.
Tamara says Mexico City. There is a church built on.
There you go. On
pyramid.
A pyramid.
Yeah, that's often if you go into
churches.
Arabia and Emirates and that, you will find things like that. The sand just blows over in hundreds of years, and then that's why we have archaeologists digging them all up. You have whole cities under sand.
Yes, you're very welcome, Nims.
Dolly, ask yourself, how did they know?
That's the key. How did they know?
How did they know they were magnetic? How did they know to look for them? Exactly. And that's where, you get that whole UFO cross into paranormal.
I know. Are you referring to the Templars? How do they know about the knowledge? That's a big question.
How did anybody know about the knowledge? How did Stonehenge, Easter Island, Rennes-le-Château, the pyramids, the Mayans? How did any of them know?
Extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. A lot of, mainstream archaeology will tell you. I mean, we've had a lot of different people. We've had archaeologists, on the show in the past. And I think, but open-minded, which is great. So I think
agree.
mainstream
Yeah.
archaeology tells you that no, this is how things are, because it's what they know and they don't want to veer away from that. But I'll tell you
Yeah.
something. The earth is giving up her secrets, and discoveries are being made because you have people who are persevering. Look at Wayne Murphy, Sean Williamson out in Wisconsin. I'm sorry. Kathleen Ann Ball in Brazil, you know, Carl and Hamilton, right? Relic hunters. I'm sorry. Things are starting to surface, and there's not going to be any hiding it. You're not going to be able to just bury it. That's right. ETs have been active through time. And you know what? The ancients actually coexisted with them. They didn't fear them the way we have been taught to fear them. Right now, it's like everything in the media. Oh my God, this is happening. You know,
There's
I mean,
Hollywood too.
even the great minds. Oh no, you're going to be Stephen Hawking. No, you don't want to be communicating with extraterrestrials. They're going to
That
take over.
shocked me.
Think of the Mayans. Think of the Aztecs. I get it
Yeah.
completely. But the ancient people emulated these extraterrestrials. They revered them as gods. They emulated them. They built temples to them. There's so many out of place artifacts that have depictions of extraterrestrials. All you have to do is just listen to some of the Grey Zone episodes Joe and I have done. They're mind-blowing, the information that we have presented on this. Why is this the only time period where we are taught to fear them? Because the governments or the militaries have whether they've made deals and they've got all of this reverse, technology that they're moving forward with, and they're trying to suppress us, like whatever the case may be. I'm not overly trusting of either, but all I know is we seem to be the only time period that really fears extraterrestrial contact. Next.
That's a whole other show.
Yes.
That's a wow. Yeah. Oh, Bradley says Oak Island is in Nova Scotia. The big treasure hunt lays on a ley line. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's ley lines everywhere. I think when people hear us speak of ley lines, they think just, north and west and east of us, but they're here as well. Yeah.
They're everywhere. They just circle around the globe.
It's energy.
That's right. That's right. Go ahead.
Okay, Petrella, if the narrative changes, people can also lose their income, prestige, and career if they change their viewpoint.
Agreed. Dolly.
Yeah. Agenda that does not include most others. Yep. That actually just melted right into Dave's comment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think that there's going to be a lot of discoveries being made. Let's talk about Antarctica for a moment. There's a lot with Antarctica. There's a whole lot with Antarctica, and it's something that's been kept from mainstream humans, being all of us in civilization, forever. And yet they've known that there was something down there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, the Nazis were said to have been down there. Darn straight they were. And if I always say conspiracy theory that Hitler was actually a Rothschild, and Rothschild's got an island right beside Antarctica, and that would make sense why he would be there. But whole other show. However, they're making discoveries that they're now talking about. Scientists have been going down there. Linda Moulton Howe has come out with, interviews, of people who have seen things, and she's basically done the interviews, exposed it. Now there's, the government's releasing little bits and pieces, and they're finding bits and pieces of an ancient civilization. The key is it an ancient human civilization? There's a freaking pyramid in there. It's like, the hell? So, it's like Alaska. Who freaking is
just a little passionate about why they're hiding all of this.
Because I want to know.
I want to know why they all want to live there.
I hate shit being kept from me, man. I don't like it at all.
Usually rich people fly south. I want to know why they want to go that far. Right? Yeah, but that's not warm.
They're going
south.
Really south.
You might as well be on Greenland. South.
Pretty much.
it's not much different than the Arctic up north here,
No.
where you don't have daylight and sunlight in one day, or
Exactly.
it's daylight and night. Sorry.
Exactly.
Dolly said it is the magnetic energy of the earth from the core of the globe. Yeah. That's where science actually agrees with us. Admiral Byrd, Tamara. Yeah.
And
it's our magnetosphere.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I think there's some great discoveries coming, and I think people should start having an open mind and try to get away from the mindset of average academia, because I think that we've been fed a very basic curriculum throughout, like all over some parts of the world are really advanced. Here in the West, we're pretty basic curriculum, in the schools, considering, like, I'm sorry, even China and Japan, I mean, they're really, really advanced in some of their teachings. So we're sort of like spinning our wheels here. And I think that we've been taught and told to just focus, like tunnel vision. We have to have that peripheral vision. We have to be open-minded and just say, okay, look, things are happening and this stuff is real. You can't deny it. It's right there. We've been taught that places like Lemuria and Atlantis have just been, it's just fiction. It's
Fantasy.
not fiction, man. It's not fiction. It's there. It's there.
We have photographs of it.
They found Lemuria, for God's sakes. It's like the 8th continent. And they found another continent, Aria, I believe it was.
Pretty sure they found Atlantis. They just don't want to tell us.
They're just not talking about it. No, exactly.
My mind is open, but scared to open it more. Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's an adventure.
I know.
You'll love it.
Just don't try to take it all in at once. That's how I learned.
Just have wine.
Wine.
Wine. Prepare for the adventure. That's it.
You're off tomorrow. You're good. Dave says, in the old maps of Pangaea, Antarctica was attached to the landmass in the area where the Indian Ocean is today. There's a great chance that humanity's original continent.
Yeah, there's that big landmass right next to Italy, actually, and it's the one that I've mentioned before. Now, with that landmass, it's gone under the plates of the earth. It's under the water, but parts of it are the mountain ranges that you see in Italy and throughout that whole part of Europe. Like, it's actually right there.
Oh, in
and
northern
Lemuria would have been
northwestern.
also attached to, because it's right between Australia, New Zealand, which was right down there with Antarctica. It's also fascinating. Yeah, the plates, they do.
Plates so dark all the time.
They do.
Well, yeah, and obviously it wasn't that solid that it sank.
Well, some of it just slides under the water. But so let's ask ourselves something else. Let's say, these, and again, I'll mention Freddie Silva because he's been on the show, a couple times. He's wonderful in his research. He's very, very, very detailed in his research. Any man who takes 19 years to study the Knights Templar and writes these freaking amazing books, 19 years, has got to stand for something. So, but there's a lot of these missing lands, as he calls them, and these ancient civilizations that go back, 10, 15, 20, 30,000 years. And these people may have been revered as gods. Is that the Atlantis story? Is that the Atlantis story?
That's the whole thing, separating myth and lore and
exactly.
And what I like to call fairy tale of cultures. It's
true.
It's hard. Dave says lots of previous civilizations probably ended up in the Earth's mantle and was recycled. I agree.
100%. See, right there, these islands have sunk and these continents have sunk. We've been through ice ages. Oh my gosh.
And we can't really check, especially if they're in, thousands and thousands and thousands of depths of water. We can't get that far to see what's there.
No.
You can't, you'll die. You can't get down there. Bradley writes, I wonder if doing a spirit box session of spirits would tell us our future or things about our planet we didn't know.
Ooh,
Well,
actually,
well,
I
I'll let
think it's
Michelle answer that one.
I
'Cause
think it's a
I've done a few.
double-edged sword with that.
Yeah.
And because I have had many sessions,
Mm.
and spirits will give you a lot of information. Extraterrestrials will give you
What you
more
need.
information.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had spirits of my family come through and set me on a journey into my lineage that blew my freaking mind. And it was all validated through different mediums and psychics. And then I've gone to these locations. I found the information I needed. So I do believe there are some things they can tell you. I don't believe they can interfere too much with giving you things that can alter your life too much. And I say that because I remember my grandfather giving me tidbits of information. And there was a woman in the background. And I remember my grandmother saying a story. She would tell us a story that for years after my grandfather passed, he would visit with her, and she would be annoyed because he had this female guide, and she would determine when the visit was over. And it was part because my grandfather, knowing my grandfather, was trying to give her some information she wasn't supposed to have, and she yanked him out of there. This is what happened when he started touching on things he shouldn't have touched on. And all of a sudden, she's basically saying, that's enough. Like, she got very, very stern with him. So I think there's limitations as to what they're allowed to tell us. And ET tells, they're actually, I found in that one last session, Bubbles,
Yeah.
the last two, they'll just, maybe three, they'll just tell you
I
all
was
kinds of
just gonna
stuff.
say it was.
It took some, yeah, you almost have to make sure you're tapped into them, though, to be sure that that's exactly who you're talking to.
Tapped in and protected as
Exactly.
well. Don't just put on one of those boxes and think all you have to do is talk.
No, you need to have somebody on the outside, not just listening. Hi, Christopher. Hi, Joyce.
Hi, Christopher. Hi, Joyce.
Yeah, I believe that there has to be somebody there monitoring, so you know exactly who you're communicating with, because it could get dangerous pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Um,
Dolly, Plato died before he gave his entire account of Atlantis. Yeah.
no,
Funny that, huh?
The ones he gave, yeah, there's another conspiracy.
Funny that.
The ones he gave, you know, they've had, look at that location called the Eye of the Sahara. And it's when you look at that thing from overhead and you compare it to ancient depictions, my gosh, it's almost identical. You're looking at that and you could think to yourself, oh my gosh, this really could be it. But then there was a new one that I found. We did it on the Gray Zone Uncensored on that show on Saturday. And I don't have those notes in front of me, but there's a newer location that has just surfaced. And now people are thinking, this might be it. And when I started reading the characteristics, because I think Plato had at least 10, 15 characteristics describing it. Now I'm kind of thinking, shit, there's another one. Was it all connected at one time? Was it extraterrestrial? Was it a floating city? Like some people say, no. How do you know the thing wasn't floating in the air and just flew off? I'm like, I don't know, man. I wasn't there, but apparently I was. So I don't know.
If it's a floating
really
city,
don't.
how do we know that it's not a craft?
Well, that's exactly it. See, so
Slowly says all have knowledge if lives all have knowledge of lives lived before, but it is your life now to live, learning on your ability to connect to truth.
I agree to that. I do. And Tamara says,
every fairy tale or folklore, there is a thread of truth. Absolutely. Urban myth as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Urban myth is the modern fairy tale.
Yes.
There is a universal law for which they cannot change a person's life plan.
I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that I think they're very limited to what they can say. Oh, the reach of structure. That's right. The Eye Sahara. I've seen it. What did you think of it, Dave? Do you think it's a good candidate for Atlantis? If you've seen the documentary?
I didn't watch that.
It's really good. It's really good. There was a few years in the study of it, but the other location was in the Azores Islands off the coast of Portugal, because Plato had mentioned that it was near the Straits of Gibraltar, was it? Or the Pillars of Hercules?
Which are there. Yeah.
That is exactly where these islands were. And these islands were said to be very, very active with earthquakes as well.
Oh.
You have to look at the Azores Island one, Dave.
I find that really interesting. Dave says, I think Atlantis is under the entire Sahara.
Well, under the Sahara, that's the eye of the Sahara. You could see where a big tsunami came in at one point and just sucked everything out of it. That's what I'm saying. It's a good candidate. But when you read the information on the Azores Islands in Atlantis, you might look at that and think, you know what? That might be another good candidate. So I don't know. Yeah, the Azores. Yeah, have you looked at everything with the Azores? It's got a really good potential.
There's got to be a reason why the Templars were there.
I I think there's a lot of ancient knowledge that's definitely there. Okay, there. So
I just lost.
Yeah,
sound.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay, I had just lost sound. Dave says the giants were on the Azores. Sorry, my eyes are like shot tonight. Yeah.
Okay, well, I can go ahead and read. I can read them if it helps.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Christopher.
Once they're on the big screen, I'm okay. Hey, Christopher. I disagree. They crucified Christ thinking they ended him. Well, we have a little comment on that little bit there.
Yes.
I know he wasn't ended. Crucifixion didn't mean what people think it means. That's where you have to start, and then that's when you get everybody all upset. Yes, the Pillars of Hercules. You can exit there and then move to the south where the Eye of the Sahara is too.
That's true. The Eye of the Sahara is a big one for me on that one.
I like to believe Atlantis is in the water. That's just me. I really do. And I like to believe that one day I'm going to be able to scuba dive and see it.
I would say Google that, because it is really amazing information.
Yeah. And Christopher says, and all but one disciple met a horrible end.
Yeah, that's sad. Those were harsh times. Those are harsh times for sure. Different world. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think there's new theories also where people are thinking that this ancient civilization in Antarctica could potentially be another candidate for Atlantis. I don't know. That was all pre-Christianity. That was pre-everything. There are a lot of really ancient civilizations out there that are starting to surface. So do you want to do a station ID, Bubba?
Yes, I do. Thank you. There's a lot of
I know. I'm trying to keep up with the chat room, but just going.
Yeah, it's I love it. I love having all everyone there. My God, we couldn't do this without you. Thank you.
Yes.
Right now you are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and myself, Amelia Pisano. We are live in New Orleans. Gorgeous city, and it's almost Mardi Gras over there. We are airing on 105.3 FM radio, and we are streaming live right now on UFO Paranormal Radio International Public Radio and UFOs and Gods and Extraterrestrials Radio, and every Facebook page that has our name on it. You search us, you will find us on 8 different pages. So join us in chat. There's still time. We still have a little bit left to the show. Tonight is our 200th episode. Thank you, all of you. And a special big thanks to Folgers, who have been with us from inception. Thank you for having faith in us. Thank you for trusting us. And we hope it's a long relationship. we wouldn't be here without Folgers Coffee sponsoring our show. Thank you so much. And we'd like to give a big thanks to composer and award-winning Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, for our intro and outro. You can find him on Amazon, Bandcamp, and you can find him on Facebook and Instagram as well. Check out his music. It's amazing. Thank you, Justin Snicker.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Nims. 200 episodes. It's fantastic. Hi, Audrey. We've been really
hit a
fortunate,
few milestones
for sure.
today. Yes.
Oh.
And Tamara, caps are melting, so things are showing up in Antarctica, Iceland, Greenland, and Arctic. Yes.
In the Arctic. Yes, they are.
Yes.
I don't know. I think I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to surface in 2022. I think there's just so much out there that's been hidden from us, but stuff that's just been hidden in general. Technology is an amazing thing, and it can actually work in favor of the people once in a while.
I agree. Bradley Monk's, for those of you that are listening and not watching, we know less about our oceans than we do space. Who knows? We may have a whole alien base there. Alien base all over the damn planet.
There are several alien bases all over, not just in the oceans. The oceans, there's quite a few. There's some said to be in our mountains.
Absolutely,
under the ground,
in them.
It's all
our favorite correctional officer, Wes Coleman, says, "I'm going to drink 200 cups of Folgers coffee to celebrate." Love you, Wes. Mwah, mwah.
Take pictures.
Well, he'll be calling tomorrow.
I know.
It's like, I'm still awake. I'm still awake with
200 cups of Folgers.
I suggest decaf if you do that.
Yeah.
And a porta potty nearby.
It's all about the thought, right?
We love you, Wes. Just, oh my gosh. Wow, that conversation went from ghosts to aliens
it's
quickly.
All over the place. It's
and
all over
history.
The place, but I love it.
And this is what we're trying to say, just a reminder, it's not always, a lot of people think that we're just paranormal. In fact, paranormal is probably the smallest thing on our schedule.
Yeah. It really is. Considering definitely. I've spent practically 2 decades in the field, it's amazing how you branch out. I've always said, learn something new every day, and moving outward into
Christopher's a 2 pots of coffee kind of guy. That's what I was going to say. That better be Folgers, Mr. Quarantino.
But you definitely branch out. I think people in the paranormal always go into ufology because there are several connections. But I am also a lover of ancient history, and I mean, I dig and I learn and I cross-reference, and I love just learning about everything because there's just so much out there to know. The paranormal is just such a small part of it. But there's a lot of dark things out there too, and I'm not just talking about evil things here as the paranormal looks at it, angels, demons, well, demons being dark, but there's that world, but then there's another world that's like right here on planet Earth. There's how we treat each other. There's people who again get victimized. There's oh gosh, guys, there's just so much. It's a whole other show, but there's so much.
They're all coming up in the next 5 months.
I know. we want to, there's a lot of stuff coming in the next few months just with guests, but we just want to present so much to you that it's hard. I almost wish we could do 3 shows a week. There's that much information to do. Well, I do 3 shows. Actually, I do about 5 shows a week.
Then we're going to be doing 6. Well, you're going to be doing 6.
Yeah, 3 that I'm actually, like the 2 Outer Realms and the Gray Zone. But then I do other people's shows. So I average about 5 a week, sometimes 6. So it does get to be a lot. But there's just so much information that I would love to just bring forward and somehow fit it all in our schedule.
We wouldn't be able to help people when we do those other 2 nights. That's the problem.
That's very hard.
Yeah. It's a very dark world we live in. Oh, hallelujah. Amen. Yes, it is.
In more ways than one.
Yes, it is.
But I don't know. I think you guys are really going to love the lineup that we have coming, and people who are just
Yeah.
going to bring you so much knowledge, and they're going to open your eyes to things that you may not want them open to. Just saying. Just
You
saying.
can always hit pause if it's too much.
Open mind. Open
Yeah.
mind. And yeah.
And you don't have to agree with all of our guests. We don't. You know, we have them on because we're learning.
We're learning, and everybody deserves the opportunity to get their stories out, or their area of study. You know,
Absolutely.
it's a big, amazing world. It really is.
Oh my God.
Bradley,
Just,
so much folklore that could be talked about. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Folklore is fascinating to me because it is the foundation of how a lot of stuff got started with us.
Yeah, Jessica, I find this all fascinating. Want to know more? I could stay and listen to my aunt on the phone forever. You know what's funny is we actually clean our houses when we're talking on the phone. It's just something.
Yeah.
But anyways,
that's
cool. I enjoy my conversations with my nieces. I really do.
No, it's cool.
Michelle, can't wait to meet you. Yeah, as soon as this crap is all down, you know.
Yes, that's true.
I never hit the pause button when I'm engaged in the show. Thank you, Zach. Zach deserves an award.
He's like a third host.
He has never missed
he managed
a show.
The chat. I know.
Like, seriously. Seriously.
I know. He's great.
Zach's the ultimate listener.
That's because he's sitting back with a drink and a cigar. He's got his feet up.
We can tell him anything.
He's like one of the girls. So.
Yeah. He's an incredible man, and he's great to the network.
Oh, you're welcome.
No, thank you.
Getting back to folklore for a sec. There's a lot of mutual, you know, we were talking to Elliot Van Dusen last night, and he was talking about, you know, things that were going on out in Nova Scotia, out in the East. And then we basically had the same sort of thing, obviously here, but down in New Orleans. And when we had Kat Thagard and Utu Witch Doctor on, they were talking about different folklore also that have shown up in different parts of the world. Peter Muse was on talking about, I believe it was, I had to say it, Pukwudgies. There's something about that
I bought his books. I got his books.
I just love,
I love the word
name.
Pukwudgie.
It's these little folklore beings, Pukwudgies. And then only to find out that, you know, that they were on like here, you know, or I'm just like, Pukwudgies. Yeah. I just had to keep saying it.
Yeah. I have to read Mama's comment. Auntie Mimi knows everything. You know who says that, Michelle?
My niece, yes.
Auntie Mimi.
I know. You know, she's like what, 20?
Yeah, it's okay. You always will. You know.
No, it's true.
Wes, I know the secret. Shh. I still want to know if they have found the secret of how they get the caramel in the caramel bar. I know.
You just have to message.
I've eaten enough of them. I know.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, one of life's little mysteries.
Yeah, I think they do it differently in England though, because I have them shipped over from England. I don't eat the ones that are here. I'm a chocolate snot. Michelle knows it. I'm a chocolate snob.
Too much wax.
Yeah, I won't eat chocolate from here. But yeah, I get them shipped in from England or even Ireland. Yeah.
So I'm just reading.
That's okay.
So when the world opens up, where does everybody want to go and why? Why? I'd like to go back. There's so many places I'd like to go back to because I spent a lot of time in different places in Europe, and I'd love to go back because there's not enough time. And I think when you're not allowed to do something, it makes you want to do it more.
Right?
Yeah.
You learn that growing up.
Funny like that.
Careful, your mom's in the chat room.
Yeah.
To see my aunt. Oh, just seriously, like you won the award. You're killing me. Oh my God! Finally, yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Luca. It's breaking my heart because she had a baby boy that I haven't been able to hold, and he's over a year, and it's breaking my heart. Yeah. Oh, Wes wants to go to Alcatraz.
Really? Yeah, West Alcatraz would be kind of cool. That would be a cool place. But again, I'm just sort of like, I'd like to go someplace that hasn't been done so much. But for you, I guess that'd be kind of personal too, right?
Being a correctional
corrections
officer. I would like to see Canada.
That's what Zachman says.
You
I want
come
to go
and
to Canada
visit,
to see all my friends.
anytime.
Here we go.
Bradley says, I see so many in the paranormal. I'm thinking on trying to bring some different ideas to the investigation, like folklore, forerunners, skinwalkers, the exits.
Talk to Linda Corino. They've had skinwalker sightings up in Georgina, Ontario. I would definitely
freaking cold
talk with her about that. Yeah, freaking things. Sardinia or Malta.
Sardinia, Malta. My brother's old neighbor was from Malta, and that's how I've got all my genealogy, all of our paperwork for our history. Malta's an incredibly historical place. Sardinia is one of the few centenarians capitals of the world. They're up in the top 3. I can't believe how many people they have over 100 years old on that island.
Wow, that's craziness. But yes, but that is true. That is true. I actually saw a documentary on that. Lilydale.
I'll go with you, Mama. I haven't been.
I have friends in Lilydale.
Yeah, I haven't been. I'll go with you.
It's beautiful.
We'll pick up Michelle, maybe.
For people who don't know, Lilydale is the largest spiritual community in at least North America, some say the world, and it was founded by the Fox sisters, and it was the birth of spiritualism.
Yes.
Abraham Lincoln is gone. Harry Houdini has tried to debunk them. There's a whole lot of history there.
Former presidents.
It's a town that talks to the dead, and amazing community.
Maybe Michelle, and she said, "Okay, I got it. I've got it. Don't worry, I'll drive."
Nims. Oh, yeah.
Oh, want to go to Ireland?
Sacred places, fairy roads. Oh, you know what? The UK has got so much beautiful fairy folklore. It's unreal. When I was in Scotland, they had the fairy glen, and it looked like a circle, just of stones, just like a spiral circle. And people could go and make offerings. And right on the top, up on the hill overlooking it, was these old ruins that were said to be the Fairy King's Grotto. So it's like, those all kinds of great fairy folklore.
Yeah,
all
Scotland's
over the UK.
Loaded with it.
Oh my gosh, yes. Ireland's the same.
The
England.
rough seas around the islands,
everything.
It just, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. There's just amazing places in the world with so much history. And places where I never expected to get paranormal experiences, where I certainly did. And okay, here's something. So, you know how you get like these vacation pictures and you only look at them 2 years or 3 years after you've been on the vacation? Because you take like 1 million of them and it takes you forever just to get
talking about herself when she says, because you.
I am, because I'm really guilty of that. So when I was in Europe, my last trip to Europe, I had started off in Scotland, ended up in the south of France, and then shot back up and came home. It was a quick trip, but I started going through these old photographs of Rennes-le-Château when I was there. Found some crazy apparition things. I did get a photo of Father Saunier. But more weird than that, I got photos of Greys. 2 of them. I was like, well then, there'd be a portal around here. I'm thinking. And then I got people sending me pictures of, look at the UFO we got in the south of France. My friend Bart. Oh, it's two different pictures, 2 different years, mind you. And there's a saucer, like right there in beautiful south of France while they're on a tour. everybody's all oblivious to it right over top of them. I was like, I don't know.
It's really weird. And you took those on trips. I was only in my living room when I got that gray in the TV screen, which I did not even notice till 3 years later when I actually sent that photo to Andrea Perrin because I was reading her book.
Mm-hmm.
With George Lopez in a Flickr. And I was reading it because Bobby and I were having them on the show, and I was trying to get through it like really fast. And I took a picture of the dog in my lap, and in the background, I never noticed anything until I went to zoom in on the dog's face. And I went, what the F is in the TV?
And I have to laugh because Amelia is in complete denial that there's any kind of ET activity at all.
No, there isn't. It was in the glass of the TV. Could have been anything.
But but that's how you get them.
I know, but
I'm sitting there and I could hear somebody behind me. So I do like a screenshot, like kind of a reverse, and it's like right there. And I was just like, I'm glad I wasn't going crazy. But they're not going to just, come right out and.
I am not a contactee.
Yes, she is. That's
no, I'm not. No,
yes,
I'm not.
Yes,
no,
is.
It was that one and only time that I'm saying. I honestly thought it was spiritual, and Andrea writes back, "Our family's with you," and I'm like, "What? No. These are ghosts."
No,
these are ghosts.
Not so much.
and it's weird because it was 2 to 3 years after I took that photo, and I said, "Oh, Versace's in this picture. I love this. I'm going to zoom in on his face. I'm going to crop it. I'm going to print this picture." And then I see the background, and I went, but there was no lights on behind me. There are no lights behind me. Why would there be a reflection in the TV? Well, I'm just saying that you do find. I'm agreeing that things are really weird how they pop up, even if.
Hey, I never expected to find them on my vacation in the south of France, of all places. And there they were in windows looking at me.
Yeah.
Because I was taking just pictures of scenery. And a couple, one was like right in the window looking down at me. And I was just like, that was very unusual for me.
Yeah.
So I know.
No.
Bradley.
I was doing a location here. The home was owned by an Irish family. The medium was picking up on ferries, the Madison Doucette Hennessy house on Facebook. Hennessy as in like the cognac?
Yes.
Oh, that's a long one. Okay. Susan Short. Something interesting. You guys might like to look into the history of the massacre of the Donnelly family, referred to as the Black Donnellys. An immigrant family from Ireland was slaughtered by town people. Johanna Donnelly practiced the Wiccan rituals, apparently, and as she was killed, she cursed all the men doing the killing. I believe that was on History Channel.
Yeah.
They are distant relatives to my grandmother's family. Well,
cool.
She lived there when she immigrated from Ireland and refused to talk.
I have something I can add to that. The connections to the Donnellys. Actually, a friend of mine is writing a book on it. He knows the current owner, who's a Donnelly, visits pretty regularly, actually, and he's got a lot of the history down pat. In fact, he knows more history than most people I've ever met. But if that's not even enough, if you guys saw an episode of Haunted Case Files, there's one a little embellished about being on the island up in northern Ontario. There was an old lodge on this island, and the caretaker of this lodge happened to be a cousin. I wish I could remember his name, Susan, because you're probably just like, what? And he said to me, he goes, you need to go visit my cousin up at the Donnelly homestead. I'll put in a good word for you. I'm just like, wow, okay. Well, after that, we connected with a house in Kincardine. Now, the story with that house was when the Donnelly family was massacred, the owner of the house we were investigating, he would buy horses. Right? That was part of one of the businesses he had. And they were a big Scottish community in Kincardine. So,
Yeah.
Donnelly's being Irish, he took a lot of flack because to help out the Donnelly family, he went and bought up all their horses. So he took a lot of flack for that. I just found it really interesting how there were two connections. Mother, what do you mean? Which uncle knew who? You cut off. You're teasing us. My uncle knew and then it ends. That's the comment. I'm assuming you're going to say the Donnellys.
I think
that would be cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Either the cool. Donnellys or them.
Them, yes, knew them, right?
Yeah.
They're going to have to message me and tell me which uncle. But I find it fascinating how things for me had come full circle with this family. And they really are very private. I guess your family member who owns or lives at the property now, for the longest time, wouldn't have anything to do with investigations or with even with film people because he had such a bad experience. So aside from communicating through this person I know who's writing a book, they're really, I think he's only now starting to open up a little bit again. Homestead in Canada. Oh, okay. Well, that's very cool. So very cool. I like it. So, that's actually really interesting. I love it. I love to hear all this. I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure. So
that's funny.
I know. I never knew this. I had no idea. So that's just, in my family. So there's a lot of really great places to visit, and Canada, people don't think Canada actually has all that much because we're not as old, let's say, as the United States, obviously. But you know what? Technically, we are just as old.
Yeah, we just weren't discovered or named.
Well, no, exactly.
It's not like Canada just popped up. Just nobody knew about who they were.
No,
yeah,
exactly.
There were people here when they got here.
Mm-hmm. And let's look at our Indigenous people. My gosh, the history that goes back there. And Vikings and Templars, and there's just pirates. Like, it's all been here.
Yeah. When you Google how old is Canada, you're going to get the age. You're going to get the age of the day they named it. You're not going to get who was here before someone came over and called it Canada, which, by the way, was an error. Yes. It actually means the village. But anyways, Susan Short said it was a feed that started in Ireland, and a priest from Ireland immigrated there, continuing the feud. Donnelly's one son had a stagecoach business, so that's where the horses came in.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's
1867.
Excellent.
Doreen writes.
We have so many haunted places. We actually do have a lot of haunted places here as well. And largely because we are such a huge, we have a huge landmass. There's things here that are completely untouched. We have a lot of mysteries. We have a lot of folklore, much of the same folklore as anywhere else. The Dirty Feud. Yes, I can well imagine it was. I mean, considering how it ended up. Besides that,
thank you,
Doreen. Happy 200th. We love it. We love it, and we're slowly coming to the end of it, which is kind of boo. That's okay. Autocorrect is just wonderful. It just
I have the same issue.
Me too.
Well,
gosh,
don't even get me started on Michelle's text messages. Just
it's an adventure in itself.
when I'm saying I didn't understand what you just wrote, it's really bad
because
for the most part I know what she's saying. Yeah,
and I always say, I said, Amelia, it's perfect. You can speak Syrian. I talk to Siri.
It's scary.
And she's like, I don't get that one. Other times it's like, I completely understand. Don't worry. It's like, there we go. That's why we're compadres.
Yeah.
You totally understand.
It's like, I knew exactly what you were saying.
Exactly. See? So it's sad, really. But it's pretty amazing all at once.
It's hilarious. Oh my gosh. I look and I'm thinking, oh my God.
I know. It's just like
even
you have
when
to
I
take a
send
course just
something
trying to
out, I'm like,
decipher my text.
really? I didn't write that. But
I
okay,
know.
Bradley writes, when I started in investigation, Claybank Brick Plant in Saskatchewan was one of my locations. Who knew that in the following that it would take me to locations built by Claybank Bricks? Well, sometimes they choose you.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Yeah.
I do. I believe that. I feel that sometimes information makes its way to you. I found myself starting to research one thing, but if I'm supposed to know something else, it just takes me there. It's just bizarre. And I end up sometimes on an entirely, different stream of research thinking, how did I get here and why? But eventually, we'll work or something and I'll just be like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, all right, that's great. I don't know. This is, I guess I was supposed to know it for something that was coming up, or sometimes you have really strange dreams. How many times have I had like messages and dreams and we go in and look at those two priests that we did. I'm not going to mention any names. We did, the one exorcist guy, got him all, sorted out and moved on. And what was it, like 2 months later? And I'm racking my brain going, who is this other person? And then I just started moving back in the trail and it was just like, holy crap, they were friends. And it was miserable and it was really convoluted. Can't get into it. But, and sure enough, we go in, we check, bam, needs help. It's just weird how things happen. So that's why when you have dreams and things, just break it down. Don't be afraid to just dig your heels in and try to decipher what it could be, or just Google the information, break it up and say, what is this about? What is this
sometimes
about?
it's the cheeseburger you ate before you went to bed.
It is.
Sometimes it's a message. But sometimes it's a message,
because I don't typically, for someone who used to be able to lucid dream, I could just do so many things with my dreams my whole life. I could stop, fast forward, rewind, pick up where I left off. I think I want to dream about this for the next 3 nights. I could do it, to completely not remembering dreams. Now it's almost as though the only thing I can remember are messages, are downloads.
Well, there's a reason for it. I hope I don't lose that, because I say I'm just as bossy in dreamland as I am in my life. If I don't like something while I'm dreaming, I actually speak up and say, listen, I know I'm not dreaming right now. Something's going on. You need to get to it and tell me what it is, because this is frustrating. I don't like repeating things. What am I missing? Just tell me.
Right. That's true.
But, I hope I don't lose that. So.
Wow. That's the thing. I don't think so.
Thank you,
thanks, April.
Hope you're well.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, you know what? I believe we go down the path that we're meant to go down the path. And here, actually, Tamara says it just perfect.
We're always drawn to what we need. Yes,
there we
absolutely.
Go.
And if that means direction, people misinterpret that statement. They think need as in materialistic. It's not always that. It's spiritually or direction as well. It's not, you're not being directed to the lottery. Well, some people are, but the clay brick is on the NASA rocket launch pad that sent the man to the moon. It was the only brick that could withstand the heat. I don't know if our American listeners, I know the rest of the world does. I don't think you realize how involved Canada is with NASA. If you notice, there's a red and white flag at your space station and a few of the other pieces that go on your rocket. So yeah,
you look up Westcam and L3 Corporation. They're huge in designing equipment for your military as well.
My cousin has said to me in Jersey, he said to me, well, you guys don't have a space program. I'm like, we are your space program. Just saying.
Little old us, who knew?
We are your space program. You're up there because we built those things. So we're not just the upstairs neighbors. Yeah.
So Dave.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Scrooge had indigestion before he had his encounters with the ghost. Yep. Because she brought him soup to help him settle his stomach. in a cup. I remember that. That's my favorite film, but it has to be with Alistair Wells. It can't be anybody else.
Right.
Nim says, was so sad when Obama shut down the NASA program. Thank you, Ken. Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Not that I have anything to do with it, but you're welcome.
Well, we also designed the Avro Arrow, that plane too. And it was just so dang sophisticated that there's just no way we were allowed to have it. Thanks to the Americans. How was that?
And Pauline LeBlanc writes, I worked at the planetarium in Laurentian University and connected with the astronauts in NASA on the day man walked on the moon. You go.
And
wow.
And if you remember also that you made mention that they actually prepared for that walk on the moon up in Sudbury because the terrain was so similar to that on the moon. Because many millennia ago, it was hit by a dang asteroid.
There you go.
Everything.
No wonder you have so many sightings up there.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. They've been crashing for years.
Girl sitting on the couch waiting to watch something, go across.
Crashing for years.
All the times. Yeah.
Wow.
It's true. Exactly. And we are hidden gems, Tamara. Dang straight. Present company included.
I was just going to say, I'd say thank you, but you're Canadian.
I know. Present company included. Never mind.
Yeah. I always say we're the Switzerland of North America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Try to keep the peace.
Yeah. Us peacekeepers. It's amazing.
Speaking of quiet.
Da, da, da. Right.
That time.
It is. Yeah. I know. I'm just trying to completely not do that, but we're going to have to do that. We are pretty much at the end of our segment. My gosh, you guys have just been so much fun. And I am really, really looking forward to another 200 episodes with you all. And I know.
Toblerone, yes. Yes and yes. That I do eat.
True. It's true. We have lots. So thank you guys all. I'm a total my bad right now. I don't have any of my information for next week's guests, unless Amelia has it right in front of her. I certainly do not. Of course, Amelia will. I'm usually more organized this, but I was just like,
I'm in my office. So yes. It's pretty much here. We have the amazing Jason Hewlett on.
With his new book. Yep.
And we have the great Dr. Kimberly George.
Both who have been on the show. So there you guys go. It's going to be.
We have a continued conversation because we couldn't fit it into one episode.
Freaking clones.
So and then after that, it's February.
Already. With a whole other freaking amazing lineup.
Yes, it is.
Just saying. Yep. So thank you, everybody who tuned in tonight. And the chat room is just like on fire. My God, I think all 8 of our chat rooms were open. And if we didn't get to somebody, we do apologize. We really do try. But the conversation was amazing. And we did cover a lot of ground. And thank you very much for partaking in our 200th episode. Yes. Please remember to head on over to all of our group pages and YouTube pages. On YouTube, you can find the network under UFO Paranormal. You can find International Public Radio. You could find UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials. Give us a subscribe, please. And don't forget about us on the Outer Realm. Come give us some love. Share it up with your friends. And again, as Amelia mentioned, if you want to communicate with us, please email at theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com. theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com. And we will do our very best to get back to you pretty much ASAP. And aside from that, I hope you guys have a terrific, terrific weekend. And we will see you again next week with new guests, coming up with a new month with even more amazing guests. So thank you all. Good night.
been listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, airing live every Wednesday and Thursday evening, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 to 10 p.m. Central, on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.